Hello, morning. For those of you who have never caught the live before, my name is Jewel. I'm a grateful recovering addict of 8 years. Gonna go live with my brother-in-law, Joe. Gonna invite him on here in just a second. There he is. If you have never saw... say hello to our newcomers. Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to know... I would really like to know how to share this while I'm live. I guess the only way to do it is...
I got it.
Yeah, but I need to share it in that workshop I'm in also. I'll just have to do it when I'm done. Unless your wife gets on and then she can do it. So for those who
I
have
already
been
shared it.
watching, we said that we were going to start the 12 steps on the first. However, it has come to my conclusion that we have to have at least one day to break. So from now on, we'll take one day off. It'll either be Saturday or Sunday. So we're going to start the 12 steps tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and read the today. September 2nd, recovery, our first priority. We have to keep our recovery first and our priorities in order. Basic text, page 82. Before coming to NA, we used many excuses to justify our use of drugs. He yelled at me, she said this, my partner left, I got fired. We used these same excuses for not seeking help for our drug problem. We had to realize that these things kept happening because we kept using drugs. Only when we made recovery our first priority did these situations begin to change. We may be subject to the same tendency today, using excuses for not attending meetings and being of service. Our current excuses may be of a different nature. I can't leave my kids, vacation wore me out, I have to finish this project so I can impress my boss. But still, if we don't make recovery our first priority, chances are that we won't have to worry about these excuses anymore. Kids, vacations, and jobs probably won't be in our lives if we relapse. Our recovery must come first. Job or no job, relationship or no relationship. We have to attend meetings, work the steps, call our sponsor, and be of service to God and others. These simple actions are what make it possible for us to have vacations, families, and bosses to worry about. Recovery is the foundation of our lives, making everything else possible. Just for today, I will keep my priorities in order. Number one on the list is my recovery. Perfect. I wish I'd have saved the one from yesterday because yesterday's was pretty good too. I'm not fully awake yet, Joe. I was up late. I had lots of stuff I had to get done.
I was tired. I went to bed at like 1. I got up at like 9.
It was I think it was like 2:30 by the time I went to sleep. I had to do my homework for this workshop and for the empowerment group, so it's been busy. It has to be number one, Jamie, because if it's not, then we always go right back to where we were before. You know, when I got out of jail, I had almost 3 months clean, and recovery was not my priority. It really wasn't. I didn't get any recovery in jail, and even though I went to meetings, I didn't have recovery as my top priority, so I wasn't even worried about it when I would go to the meetings. You know, I was worried about who was there and what was everybody talking about. You know, I wasn't worried about my recovery at all. So it took me a little longer. Go ahead, Joe.
I mean, I don't know. My situation's a little bit different because I don't work my recovery like, traditional, like the way a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my shit's kind of different. Like, like I said before, I don't go to meetings. I don't read any step work. I don't do any of that shit.
Yeah.
I just try to stay busy and, focus on, what I need to do to get better in life. You know, I don't really. I just try like honestly, I just try not to think about it. Like and when it comes up, I deal with it at the time. You know what I mean? I
Mm,
try to deal with everything in the moment
mm,
instead of worrying about yesterday or tomorrow or a year down the road. I try to just think about like right now.
mm,
So because I feel like that's the best way to handle it. If you handle the situation when it comes up, um, I tell people, don't obsess over it. You know what I mean?
mm,
Don't make it bigger than what it is. I always say like, people turn addiction and drug abuse and alcohol abuse, they turn it into this like big bad wolf, and they make it out to be like this monster that they can't defeat, and it's just like not that serious. It's really not that serious. You know what I mean? It's not as bad or it's not as hard as people make it out to be. People make it, they blow it up and make it into something that it's not. Um, like I'll give you an example. Um, this weekend I went home to spend some time with my family in Kent County. I went to see my grandmother, went to see my cousin. I had some other things I had to do, but that didn't happen. Hopefully I'm gonna deal with that next weekend.
yeah.
But
Right.
but going home is always like going back to Kent County is always like it's like a big trigger for me. I guess you could call it a trigger because like that's where I'm from. That's my roots. That's where I drank. That's where I hung out. That's where I did a lot of my shit, around Kent County, Delaware area. That's where I pretty much, grew up and made my story. That's pretty much where everything started,
Mm,
So every time I go home, it's like the closer I get to Chestertown, it's like the more the feeling takes over.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I immediately start thinking about drinking every time I drive back to Kent County, every time I get back. Like if I'm by myself, like if I'm with my daughter and I'm with my wife, then I don't really think about it at all. But like when I go home by myself, it's like
Different. Yeah.
it's like I just get flashbacks. It's like I start to romance it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I start to think about how much fun I had and how much I would really like to drink to take the edge off, and how much I would like to just say fuck it and party and have a good night. But I handle that in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I had like when I got to town, I had like 2-3 hours before my cousin got off work. So realistically, I could have went to the liquor store. I could have bought some beer. I could have sat in his driveway at his house, and I could have got it in for like 2 or 3 hours before he ever even got home.
Yeah.
You know what
Hmm.
but I chose to go to my grandmother's, and she just lost her husband, my grandfather. So I chose to go there where I'm safe, where I don't think about those things. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I went there and I kind of relaxed there, but I was on edge. You know what I mean? I had anxiety. I was like kind of, I was kind of just like antsy. Like I was real unsettled
Hmm.
because I had that shit. It started to take over my thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I explain it before in the videos. Like you just get that tunnel vision. Like you don't think about anything else, and it's almost like you can't control it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't control how the thoughts just take over your mind. And
That eventually goes away, Joe, just so you know.
and then and then but you guys want to know something? Like the biggest thing that helped me was doing these videos because how I rationed out. How I told myself how I defeated it in the moment was if I drink, I can't with a clear conscience come on the video the next day and pretend that like I can help somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm So as much as you guys always tell us these videos help me, you guys are great. You guys are great too because you guys hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Because if I'm being responsible for everybody that's watching, I got to make sure in the dark I'm doing the right things. I got to make sure when nobody's watching me that I'm doing the right things because um, I don't want to lie. You know what I mean? I don't
Right.
want to come on here and pretend,
Well, you're not a
even though
fake
I could
person.
because I mean I could. You guys don't know me. You guys will probably never see me. So I mean, um, I easily could. But then I also thought to myself, what if I go into the liquor store and I run into somebody that knows that I do these videos.
Yeah.
What if I bump into somebody and then they tell me I'm a hypocrite, or they look at me and I see them and they see me and I'm like, well, they know.
Right.
They just saw me buy this,
That
you know
comes
what I
back to
mean?
the whole we have to give it away to keep it, you know? These videos that we do are like service work almost, you know? Amberlyn said these videos are your meetings, and she's right. She's absolutely right. We say all the
Yeah,
time
it's
we don't
true.
go to meetings because we pretty much host a meeting.
Right. So I just wanted to tell you guys that story because it really happened and it just happened this weekend. It was a real situation. And I want to explain the aftermath of that situation. So now let's say I got drunk and had fun. Nobody knew except for whoever I was with. And the person that I was with at the time, they're not gonna rat me out. They're not gonna say nothing. You know what I mean? They're gonna give me a hard time about it, but they're not gonna throw me under the bus. But what ended up happening is, I FaceTime my wife and my daughter, and I'm sober. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just reinforced it. Like this is this is this is why I made that choice. You know what I mean? I don't have to feel guilty while I'm, FaceTiming my daughter for her to go to bed. You know what I mean? I can FaceTime her with a clear conscience, and that lets me know I held up my end of the agreement. I made an agreement with her that she wasn't going to see that person. You know what I mean? And I held up my end of the bargain. I held up my agreement. So I don't want you guys to think that, I got 18 months sober, and most of my days, I'm going to say probably 90% of my days, it doesn't bother me. I don't think about it in my day-to-day life. But there are situations where I'm still human and I still get impacted by it and it still affects me.
Mhm.
I don't want anybody to think that's because I don't drink that I don't want to drink. You know what I mean? That's not the case. I mean, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. Like, live in the moment. Just handle it as it comes and try to position yourself so you can make the right decision and make it easy on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I tell you guys, reach out. If you guys feel like, you're having a bad day and there's no meetings around and none of your friends are around and all your friends are busy, just reach out. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Amberlyn,
And this is,
good.
go ahead. Nah, go ahead.
Amberlyn said meetings haven't helped me recently. When I go to one and I see someone nodding out, it puts me in a bad spot. Addiction is a big bad wolf, and I can't defeat it without help. But if I don't go to meetings, I have to find an outside source.
Well, that's why we kind of do this. We do this so, this is an everyday thing. The replays are always on here. You can always watch them. Um, and honestly, I like this setting better because we don't have to meet up. We don't have to politic. We don't have to follow any guidelines, really. I mean, we can kind of just run this shit the way we want, and we can feed off you guys. It's the same thing. I mean, honestly, as a meeting, except it's not as structured. You know what I mean? We just kind of we're more loose with it,
Yep, laid back.
and it reaches more people. It's not
Mm-hmm.
it's not just local.
Yeah.
And those are situations, like, and that was a situation that was just reminiscent. Like I tell people all the time, like nostalgia will get you in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The thing about nostalgia is we only have good feelings from nostalgia. We only get natural high from our nostalgia. So every time we reminisce and we have nostalgia, it always comes from like a good feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and we forget all the horror stories. We forget, waking up not knowing where the fuck we were, or when we fell asleep, or where we passed out at. Waking up in a weird house, waking up around people you forgot you passed out with. Um, you know, just waking up not knowing what you did, black eye, busted knuckles, whatever the situation. Um, and we don't never like think about about that shit when we have nostalgia or we reminisce about it or we romance it. We only think about, man, you remember that time we had that good night and we played this and we did that and we went there and that was fun. That was funny. And you think about the music you were listening to at the time and all of that shit. And it just, we often forget how bad it really was. And I can promise you, if you've had as many years in it as I have, if you had like, close to 15 years living in a addiction or, alcohol abuse or whatever, um, you've had 10 times the bad times that you've had the good times. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But we never think about that shit. And when we do, I also always tell people when they're going through some hard shit, I always tell you it's only bad because it's present. It's only real bad because you're in the moment of it.
Mm-hmm.
You've had way worse times in the past, but you forget about the feeling because they're in the past, so it doesn't seem as bad anymore because it's over.
Yeah.
Like that's why I try to tell people that when they're going through a hard time, like you've been through worse, this is no big deal. You can get through this too. And I bring up certain, examples. Like you remember when you went through that? You remember when that happened? And then they're like, "Oh yeah." It's the same thing with the good memories that you think you have when it comes to your addiction and drinking and all of that shit. So I try to tell people all the time, just live in the moment. Take it by every situation. It's all situational. Take it one step, one situation at a time.
I feel like our addiction blocks the badness out. Like we just covered up. Shannon said, I try to stay away from the meets that the addicts go to that are court ordered. And in my town, I have been to them all and have evaluated behaviors. I know where and when the genuine people will be attending a meeting. And I think that's a problem that a lot of people have that are in small towns because um, there's generally not a lot of meetings. Like where I'm at, we have one meeting a week, and it's with the people that are court ordered.
I'm an alcoholic and she's an addict.
Yeah.
I never had a problem with drugs. I wasn't into the drug scene. As far as using drugs goes, I wasn't. It wasn't my thing. I never tried dope, never tried coke, never smoked crack, never did any of that shit. Meth, none of that. I just always been a big time drinker.
It's funny to me that I was a drug addict because when I was like 17 and 18 and in school, and I always thought people that did drugs were weird. Like I couldn't be one of those people. I was literally afraid. The first time I tried coke, I was literally afraid that I would die from it, but I still did it. As dumb as that is.
Well, I think it's funny because like I looked at my mom and I was like, man, I don't. It's like I don't want to, be like that, and I don't want to do drugs, and I don't want to be looked at like a drug addict. So see, this is the mentality. It's like, especially like if you're tied into any type of street life or any type of situation like that. Back in the day, like nobody glorified drug addicts. You know what I'm saying? So like when I was growing up, they were looked at in a different light that they kind of are today. It's like now it's like socially acceptable to pop pills and do more hardcore drugs than it was back in the day. So like I didn't want to have that on my name, so I never did it. But that just goes to show you how easy it is to get caught up in alcohol abuse because everybody accepts it. It's okay.
Mm.
Lawyers drink, judges drink, cops drink, everybody drinks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but the difference is some people can handle the shit and some people can't. And I kind of look at it too, like a lot of people that drink and think they can control it. A lot of them have problems too, but they just never get in trouble, and they never have that reality check where they're like, I can't stop fucking getting in trouble for this shit, and I don't want to get in trouble, but I can't stop putting myself in harm's way. So a lot of people just never get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they never have that wake up call. So, but that's the reason why, because it's like socially acceptable, and it's embedded in our in our roots, in our culture, in our tradition to drink with that, like everything you do.
Yeah.
It's advertised on TV for football games.
Yep.
It's sold at every store almost. It's everywhere around you. It's around you, and it's legal. You can't get in trouble because you got a 30 pack in your back seat, as long as that the shit ain't open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you get caught with a bag of dope, you're going to jail. You know what I mean? So it's different. It's treated different. So it's easy to get swept up in that. It's easy to get caught up in that. And my friends didn't look at me like a bad guy because I had a shit faced night, because even that was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, I don't know. It was easy for me to get swept up in that and caught up in it, because it's easy to get, it's cheap, it's acceptable, it's legal. So it doesn't make me better than a drug addict. It's just, that's just how it was treated, and that's how it was looked at.
And what's crazy to me is that the other night I was looking on the Torrid website, and I was looking at t-shirts and stuff because I want to get some new stuff, Christmas is coming, all that good stuff. And they have t-shirts. They have like a Budweiser t-shirt. They have wine t-shirts. They have its shot o'clock shirts, like all this stuff related to alcohol. And I'm like, damn, I can't wear none of these. Like, what's the point? Amberlynn, my drug of choice was opiates. So pills, heroin, whatever I could afford at that time.
Shannon, I had that mentality too. You know what I mean? Like, where, I mean, I wasn't a millionaire, that's for damn sure. But by the time I was in my senior year, I had 2 cars. I had plenty of money in my bank account. I was headed to college. I kept good grades no matter what I was doing in my social life. I managed to keep good grades. So I felt like I deserved to do whatever the fuck I wanted, because I'm handling my shit.
It was like
So as long as I can, yeah, as long as I handle my business, then I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do in my spare time, because I can juggle both. So I felt like, but all it takes, even for him, all it's gonna take is one life changing situation, and it'll be different. Everything will be different. My mom used to always tell me a split second decision can change your life forever.
Yeah.
She told me that shit all the time. So,
Josh,
nobody's above at all.
Josh said, plus when we were growing up, crack and dope was for the bums. It's glorified now in music, movies, etc. So much that I think it's a huge factor in why we have such a problem with it right now, especially in the younger community. I mean,
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
song, I feel like.
it's true. Me and Eli talked about it on here before, about how, like, growing up, when I was a kid, the rappers rapped about selling drugs. These rappers rap about doing drugs. So I mean, it's just, it's different.
Yeah.
And I mean, rock and pop, it's, you got to be able to understand what they're saying, because they hide it in their music. You know what I mean? So it's different in different genres. And country, all they talk about is, drinking whiskey and beer. So
yeah,
it's, so you see, in country, for a while until recently, country was the biggest music. I mean, everybody, it was the most popular genre for a long time, and now hip hop's taken over, and it's, all they rap about is doing dope. Honestly, I mean, people look at pills and think it's not heroin. Same thing, different form.
Right.
Just because a guy with a white cup can write you a script for it, because you.
Uh-oh. Where'd you go?
It doesn't.
There you are.
I had a phone call.
Oh.
It doesn't mean. Saying just because a doctor can write you a script because you hurt your knee or something doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Hank too.
I didn't know if you were at the gym or if you were somewhere else, and that's if you were losing service or what.
Nah, I had a phone call.
So tomorrow we're going to start the 12 steps. And we're not going to, our videos are probably going to be the same they usually are, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Um, and I don't know what time it'll be, so don't ask. But just remember that if you don't catch it live, you can always go back and look for it and rewatch it. I know some of you are in a group, so if you're not on our personal pages, feel free to add us, and then you can always click the get notified when we go live so you get notified. You can always go back and watch the replay. I think we've been doing this for, did we start doing these before Halloween? We did, right? Like 2 weeks
Yeah, I'm
before
pretty sure.
Halloween? Yeah, so we're like 6 weeks in. My mom asked me this morning, because I was setting the page, I'm setting the just for today's on my March into Recovery page. And she's like, what are you going to do when you get to the end of the book? I said, the same thing we do when New Year's comes, start back on January 1st. I don't think she realized that it was like an every day, like it had a reading for every day.
I mean, Lana, I don't see one good thing in any of it. So to be honest with you, I mean, I looked at, when my mom did pills and all she did was nod out and fall asleep. I'm like, what a fucking waste of money. You know what I'm saying? If I want to take a nap, I'll just take a nap.
But you know
I
what?
don't, you know what I'm saying?
It didn't start out that way for her. Like I can remember when I first started doing pills, I had so much energy. Like I literally would wash the car every day, sometimes twice a day. The house would always be clean. Like I would have all this energy. And I don't know what happened to that energy as my addiction progressed because it certainly didn't stick with me.
I mean, the same way I could drink all night long and into the next day and not have no problem, and then all of a sudden, I drink for 2 hours and I'm blacked out already. So I don't know. It changes.
Yeah.
Long term versus short term should affect your body different long term than it does short term.
Yeah, that's true.
I was gonna say Amber Lynn too to get back to your question. Um, when I was younger, because my mom always had pills and stuff for her back, I did go through a little phase where I would take a pill with my drink. I also went through the lean phase when I was younger, but I was doing that shit, you know, 10, 15 years ago before the shit was, in every song or real popular. Um, I listened to a lot of 3 6 Mafia, and they were one of the first ones to really, make it like put it out there and make it public. Um, so I went through a little phase like that, but I never got addicted to it, and I never. It was like a flash in the pan phase. Like I messed with it for a little bit, and then I was like, man, I can't function. You know what I'm saying? I can't. This shit makes me sleep. I can't fuck with this shit.
Yeah.
So I just kind of went right back to my beer and called it a day.
Let me see. Ashley said that's what we do. We keep using more and more to try and get that original feeling, but it never happens. I found this image a few weeks ago that said, I destroyed my body for a peace of mind I never got. How many of you can relate to that? You destroyed your body to, let me read it again. I destroyed my body for a peace of mind I never got. I wouldn't necessarily say that pills don't make you a mental case because I know plenty of people who did pills who went crazy. You have to think about the ones
Yeah,
that take pills and stay up for days upon days upon days because they go into that psychosis phase.
I was gonna say to Lana too. Pills are dangerous because this is just what goes on in my town. This is what I picked up on in my town. Most of the people that I knew that did pills, they started out with pills. They couldn't get the scripts no more. It got too expensive. They had like $300 a day habits, and they started doing dope because it was cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what comes with dope? People people are dying from that shit. People OD off pills. People OD off heroin, and then you got needle users. They get hepatitis. They get HIV. So neither one's better than the other. I mean, some people, Lana, to kind of answer your question, some people like different effects. You know what I'm saying? Some people like the effect of meth. Some people like to be wired. Some people like to be down. Some people like uppers. Some people like downers.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to go crazy. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
mean, that's
true.
everybody's different, and it only takes one time. You do something once, it only takes one time for you to get addicted to it and keep using it. So I'm sure people that do meth, I'm sure they don't like it after a while, but they don't have a choice, so to say. You know what I mean? They're addicted to it.
Yeah.
That was their drug, and they're addicted to it. And different drugs are popular in different areas of the map too. It depends on where they're from, where they grew up at.
Yeah. Let's see. Shannon said, my mom and grandma was opiate addicts and never wanted to be like them, and I wanted to be the one who wanted to break the generational curse. But I fell into the same and took it way further than they ever did. Pray my kids break that generational curse. Shannon, if you're clean, you're in the process of breaking it. They don't have to be the ones that break it. You're going to be the one that breaks it. Amberlynn said, not that it wasn't bad enough, but I pray for addicts every day who are using right now in the age of fentanyl. I have to agree with you because when I was using, fentanyl was new. Like they had the fentanyl patches, that was a new thing. And I didn't ever mess with them because they were, first off, they were crazy expensive. But I'm just thankful because I know now they're like mixing that shit up and everything. And I can't imagine.
I don't understand it because I don't understand, like, from a dealer perspective. I don't understand why you'd want to kill your fucking clientele. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me, but whatever.
Well, I don't think that the mission is to kill them. I think it's to get them hooked even more. But the problem is that drug dealers are not pharmacists. They're not doctors. They don't have any fucking idea what they're doing. And that to me, I mean, I don't know why I couldn't tell myself this before, but that to me is enough to make me steer clear of it because I worry about what I get from the pharmacy as it is.
I mean, I can understand people cutting shit with B12 and, vitamins and shit like that, but um to make more money, but to cut it with fentanyl, first of all, you got to pay for that. It's more expensive than vitamins, and on top of it, it's like, wha- I don't know, man. I just don't get it. I don't get why you want to kill your clients, especially now that everybody knows, hey, everybody's dying from this shit. Um, you go from getting a deal, you go from getting charged with distribution versus getting charged with manslaughter. I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand it. I think it's fucking stupid, if you ask me.
A couple months ago, they had stopped a tractor trailer across the bridge, and they said that he had enough fentanyl in his truck to wipe out DC, to completely wipe DC out. It's fucking nuts.
It just makes me think something else is going on with it. It seems to me like it's bigger than the dope dealer on the corner, to be honest with you,
It
because
is. It is. It's a lot bigger than that.
something something else is going on.
When I worked for the trucking company, there were drivers that were bringing meth back from California. I won't name names, but you know where I worked at. So, Shannon said it took me 2 almost fatal overdoses to wake up and clean it up. Shannon, do you have any? I'm just curious. Do you have any like I don't know that side effects is the word, but I had a friend who has twin brothers, and they both overdosed in one summer, and they both were put on life support. And her one brother actually has heart problems now from it. I didn't know if you had any of those from the overdoses. Lana said, my son's been on meth 2 years and he's killing me. I can't take the mental craziness, and he lets no one sleep. He simply can't function. I've tried to see any good in it to understand him, but I can't. Shire said it's not seeing the good in it, but the good in your son. Yeah. Have you, I mean, I'm sure that you've tried to talk to him about treatment before.
I mean, I understand, Lana. That's part of the appeal. Is like, man, that shit's people dropping from that shit. I can understand that, but like, it's not like it's pure hair. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a good product. They're just cutting it with shit that isn't even what you're buying. You know what I mean? It's stupid. I just don't get it. I don't get. And not to I mean, who the hell wants manslaughter? I don't want manslaughter. It's counterproductive. You're a petty dealer and you get hit with a manslaughter case because of cell phones. Because I'm telling you right now, they're gonna track you down for manslaughter. If somebody dies and that shit was dirty, they're gonna put you away. I done seen it happen to quite a few people already
I was
where
just
I'm
gonna
from.
say that
So
the one boy, Chris's son, they convicted his drug dealer of murder.
and he wasn't nothing but a drug addict himself. That's the crazy shit about it.
Yeah.
And most of them are. Most of them deal to get high anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what's even worse from one addict to another. Why would you want to? I don't know, man. It just doesn't make sense. You go from looking at a 2 to 5 year sentence to a 10 to 15 year sentence. I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
Manslaughter carries 25, I think.
Yeah, but I don't see nobody getting it. I mean, to me, that's just the general range of
I don't know
what I think, you know.
I don't know what that boy got sentenced to. Did he get 20 years? For some reason, I feel like he got 20 years.
I mean, in a small town, probably. I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, I've seen people get 60 years for selling drugs, so I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. It's crazy. It's just, I don't understand it. But it is what it is. It doesn't change the fact. I mean, you know it. So that's why I tell people all the time. Every time you use, you know what you're looking at. You know what could happen.
Amberlynn, it'd probably be a long time before we find out if they try to go after whoever. I don't know Mac Miller. I don't know the situation. So
He's a rapper,
he died. Didn't
Shira.
he?
Yeah, he died. Little Peep died too. I mean, it's funny because all these people glorify this fucking music and they like these artists. And when they die from the shit they rap about, everybody's so fucking sad for them. I'm like,
Yeah.
and they put on this big memorial, like they're listening to their music all the time. And it's like, they just don't even, they can't even see through the shit. They can't even, so blind. They're so blind and brainwashed from the music that they don't even see what happened. They don't even see the fact that this kid died from the shit.
Yeah.
The shit that he's rapping about, the shit that you're listening to.
I knew he had died. I
Like,
just didn't know it was a fentanyl overdose. I didn't realize that. Of course, he could play on the radio right now, and I wouldn't know who it was.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I fuck with Lil Peep a little bit. I don't like Mac Miller, but I like Lil Peep a little bit. But I'm not gonna say R.I.P. Lil Peep. First of all, I don't know you. Second of all, you know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Ron,
I mean, it's
I don't know for certain, but I would assume that you can overdose from too much of anything. I mean, if you can overdose on Tylenol. I would imagine you could overdose on meth. Does anyone on here have experience with meth or any information that they could give to Lana?
I would assume what could happen to him is I would assume, he could have an issue with his heart. I mean, if I was gonna guess, being it's the type of drug it is.
Yeah.
Or somebody could sell him a bad bag and he could die from that. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. It's just like that article I saw last week where, it was these two boys who were like perfect students in school and never got in any trouble, decided one night they were going to try Percocet. And it was not Percocet. It was fentanyl. And it was stamped Percocet. And it killed them both. Neither one of them woke up.
yeah, I seen something where people were saying I was watching this video one time and it was another rapper, of course, and he was talking about people that he was telling people that if it's not glossy, don't take it.
I don't know what that means.
He was saying like he was saying that if the pill doesn't have a shine to it, that it's fake.
Mm.
That like the real pills have like coating on them. So he was saying like if it doesn't have a, I mean that's what he was saying.
Not all though.
I don't know.
Not all. Matter of fact,
I mean every time most of the ones that I took they were just powdery feeling. I mean I don't know, but my shit came from the medicine bottle, so I knew what it was. I wasn't worried about it. I never even bought pills to take, you know.
yeah.
So
Let me see. Danielle said, I've been in the house just detoxing and letting someone love me until I can love myself. You know, that's what my first sponsor told me, Danielle, was that she would love me until I could learn to love myself.
but I thought I saw somewhere, didn't they say though that they were putting coatings on them so people could tell the difference
Oh,
between fake pills and real?
I don't have any idea.
I don't know either. Who cares? Just don't do it and you won't have to worry about it.
Right. Emerald said he didn't know the bar was cut. In my days, I knew I could die from any number of things I was doing, but my life was pretty sad, and I feel for any addict who suffered. Shannon said I experimented with it once, and I hated it, and it had made my feet swell for 3 days from the stress it put on my heart. So have you always have heart problems, Shannon? I was just curious if you had any that were like a direct result of the overdose. Does anybody have anything they want to share? Anything they're struggling with? Probably wrap up here soon. Are we at like 45 minutes, I think?
I don't know. I don't look at the
I
time.
can't ever tell. Your brother said he was going to come home and make breakfast, and I don't smell the bacon cooking. All right. Do you have anything else to add, Joe?
No, just back to the main thing. Just make sure you do that maintenance we talk about. Make sure you keep yourself in check. Handle the situation when it comes. There's always people you can talk to. With social media, especially, man, there's really no excuse. I mean, you have such a bigger outlet.
Yeah.
There's so many people you can reach out to.
Yeah. And don't be afraid. I've said this before. We try to keep it like NA does. We keep the women with the women and the men with the men. So if you're a woman and you're struggling, please feel free to reach out to me. I think I swallowed some spit down the wrong tube. Sorry.
Yeah, y'all can message me too. Y'all can add me on my personal page. I accept all friend requests. I don't, if you're on here and I recognize you from here, I accept all friend requests. You can inbox me if you're struggling or if you need something. Just we try to give everybody the chance, to reach out. If you need anything, reach out to Jewel, and I'm pretty sure she'll get back to you. If she don't, you can reach out to me. And we'll try our best to help you through whatever you're going through in that situation.
Yeah.
We go live pretty much almost every day. We might miss a day here and there, but usually we go live every day, but we're not going to be live for 24 hours. So if you need something, don't hesitate to reach out. Like I always say, I don't want to see, we said, and I don't care who you are, you feel free to inbox me, add me on Facebook, whatever. And I don't want to get back on here and see anybody say, nobody helped them and there was nobody to. And if I don't see you in my inbox or in her inbox and you said nobody was there for you and you reached out and nobody got back to you and nobody helped you, that just tells me you already had your mind made
Yep.
up. So,
And he'll ask me, did so-and-so message you? So we're watching. We're here to help you. We're here because we care. If we didn't care, we wouldn't be here. Because this takes a lot out of us to come on here and go live every day. Amberlyn said, anyone have any experience, strength, or hope on Suboxone taper? I personally don't. They wouldn't give me Suboxone. They wouldn't give me anything to help detox. So I do not. My best advice for you is to take it day by day. Shannon said I was diagnosed about 3 years into my addiction, so I assume it probably had something to do with it. Probably a very good chance.
and to anybody that's young, now old or young, it's never too late. But to anybody that's young, that's watching, don't fuck around. Don't wait around.
Yeah, don't do it.
My mom got clean, and she had 8 months clean before she died. She died when she was 49. Her heart was enlarged. She got pneumonia. Her lungs filled up with fluid. She had a bad liver. All this from long-term drug use.
Yep.
So don't fuck around thinking you got forever. You know what I'm saying? The sooner you get your shit together, the sooner your body can heal and recover. You're poisoning your body every day you use drugs.
Yep.
Every day you drink alcohol, you're poisoning your body. So you think, I started drinking when I was like 14, 15. By 16, I was drinking heavily. So I think about the damage I did to my body, for the 15 years I was drinking. So I can only imagine, mixed drugs in the equation and all of that. So don't wait around, man. Your life is valuable. Your body's not indestructible. So don't wait around thinking, oh, I'm young. Because before you know it, you're 30 plus and you've done a lot of significant damage to your body. And then you get clean, you get sober, and you spend the rest of your life dealing with the aftermath. So don't wait around, get clean as soon as possible. If you're older, never too late.
We're not invincible. I feel like as addicts, we think we're invincible. Destiny said, meth was never my drug of choice, but I got hooked on it bad last summer for 4 months. I now have suffered from severe panic disorder for over a year from it. It's awful. Amberlyn said, closed mouths don't get fed. That's right. We can't help you if you don't tell us you need help. So just remember that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. If you enjoyed the message, please feel free to share it out. Like I said, if you want to get notifications that we're live, feel free to click the whatever it says, get notified in the top of the corner. You can send us friend requests. Feel free to reach out. We hope you all have an awesome day. Tomorrow's Monday. We're going to start the first step. So we hope to see you there. Anything else?
All right, y'all.
All right. Bye.
Nope.